I may have had my first non-touch orgasm at 14 years. It was in a typical secondary school with boarding facility. The time between when school is over and when the hostel gets opened for boarders. We were in front of the hostel. Some were loitering, some were collecting their laundry, some were gisting. Then this girl and I, though she's passed away, may her soul rest in peace. We were lying down in front of the hostel, opposite each other. While she was reading a novel, I was reading a magazine. Now, if you are born in the 90s or 80s, you remember these classic romantic magazines. They are very sensational. I think one literally is called Sensational. And I was reading this session filled with love, romance, passion. Blood was flowing. Something was happening to me. Meanwhile, as of that time, I've not had my first sex. But I knew a lot of things about the adult things. I was exposed, just that I never practiced. So at that time, when all those things were happening, hormones began to flow and some things I can't remember. Suddenly, I began to quiver. What was happening to me? I just looked. In as much as I didn't know exactly what it was, but it was kind of embarrassing. So I looked at the girl, I looked at the corners to make sure that nobody was looking at me. It was so intense, it was pleasurable until suddenly I came down. I felt relieved, I was happy, I was joyous. It was very interesting. I felt it could happen again. And by that time, the hostel was opened and the students began to troop in. But that wasn't the end for me. For me to get up, I realized there was this hotness, this wetness, this fluid coming out from me. And you know the worst part? It was visible. Our uniform then was red pinafore. So there's no way I could hide it. And I knew what it was. But I don't know who doesn't know or who knows what it was. It was embarrassing. Luckily for me, I used the wide cover magazine to place on my, my groin area, and I went inside on my bed. I just laid down. Whatever happened to me made me happy. I began to read more. I began to search for more. That was when I learned about this sweet, pleasurable, interesting, inexplicable thing that could happen in a woman's life. I was 14 and I also know that I wasn't ready for the type of things that could come from having an intercourse. I cautioned myself. Yes, that event made me know that my body was ready, that I could be having a lot of sexual energy. But I cautioned myself that apart from teaching, religious teachings, home training, and maybe my conscience, I wasn't ready. Then whenever it was going to be, I promised myself that I'm going to give myself a full dose of orgasm.
China was tiger pum pum.